Good evening. It is a great privilege for me to be able to welcome Justice Albie Sachs to our school and for me to introduce him to you. As Justice Sachs has had a long and distinguished career, too long to mention now, you'll find his biographical details in the program. Of particular interest to us tonight, firstly, is that Justice Sachs is the patron of the Ruth First Jeppe Memorial Trust, and secondly, was a very close friend of Ruth First. So what he tells us about her tonight is from first-hand knowledge. Thank you very much, sir, for taking a personal interest in the trust and your willingness to address us tonight. We are all greatly looking forward to what you have to say.
Seeing Ruth's portrait here gave me quite a wrench. I knew I was coming to an evening in which her name would feature, but just somehow seeing the picture was such a strong reminder of her. Ruth was an attractive person, not beautiful in the formal sense, but you noticed her. There was something about the way she stood, the way she related. It wasn't kind of, look at me guys, what a beautiful gal I am, or I don't care what you men think. That just didn't come into it. Ruth was very proud to be herself, to be a woman, to be an intellectual, a writer, a traveler, and to be a critic. I don't know if the school was the place where she first began that journey of not taking anything for granted, and possibly the ideals that were closest to her, the people she loved the most, the things that were the most meaningful to her were exactly the things that she was most critical about. Critical not in the sense of denouncing and saying bad, but demanding the highest quality. So she wouldn't just go along loyally because she was a member of this or that or the other. She really wanted to know, she really wanted to believe on the basis of truth. Somehow seeing these pictures brings that all back to me. Ruth was bombed in Mozambique. I was bombed in Mozambique. Ruth died, I survived. I have a kind of strong feeling that those of us who survived, and it's pure accident, if the bomb, in my case, had been just a tiny bit this way, or the piece of metal that went into my head had just been a tiny bit that way, I'd be dead. If somebody else had opened the parcel sent to Ruth, then maybe she would be speaking at Sachs School in Cape Town for a memorial for the Albie Sachs scholarship. I don't know. But there is that strong sense of those of us who did survive, who were in the same trenches, the same endeavor, have, the word duty isn't right, a vocation, a feeling, a will to speak for and represent those who didn't see the huge and tremendous transformations in South Africa. I get asked week in and week out to be on a trustee on this and a patron on that, and I say no, it's just too many, I can't choose. But when I was asked to be a patron of the Ruth First Trust, my heart immediately said yes. Break your own rule. And that's an emotional, instinctive thing of fellow feeling and commitment. I knew nothing about the school. I went to school in Cape Town. I was at a boys' school, and the girls' school that we used to kind of have fantasies about was Good Hope. And our cadet bands would march by, boom, 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 and we imagined all the Good Hope girls were trying to get a seat near the window so that they could see us marching by. So the schools, and that's even within the scope of segregated, Cape Town segregated Johannesburg, of Joburg, are not well known to me. Occasionally our rugby team would come up and play against St. John's, maybe Parktown, but I don't remember us playing rugby against Jeppe Girls High at any stage. So it was purely the connection with Ruth First that got me to say yes. And the memory of Ruth, the association with Ruth, and anything about her life, is kind of precious. It's a kind of posthumous value and significance that's given to things that otherwise are just what you do. You go to school, you go to primary school, you go to high school, and so on. What might otherwise have been banal becomes interesting because it was part of Ruth's journey. So that was interesting. But then I started learning about the school. And I felt, wow, how valuable and important the school is. And I'm not saying it because I'm a patron. One thing I learned from Ruth is you don't say things just to be nice to people. You say things because they come from your heart, because they're meaningful. Sometimes you don't say nasty things to people who deserve to hear nasty things. You just hold back. You don't want to fight. But you don't say nice things just to ingratiate yourself with an audience. But I can genuinely and honestly say that I'm now proud to be associated with the school, not just because of the link with Ruth First, but because what you're doing. Before coming here, I was being interviewed at the Constitutional Court by Karabo Verleng. Some of you who might listen to the book program on SABC Sunday afternoons will be familiar. She also did broadcasts on SABC in the afternoons. And I found a terrific interviewer, contemporary, sharp, loved literature, books, music. She's of this kind of world that belongs to all of South Africa. And she mentioned her daughter is at a school. It's about 70 kilometers south of Johannesburg, and staying with the maternal grandmother. And it's a good school. It was a whites-only Afrikaans medium school. And almost all the teachers are white Afrikaans-speaking women. And she said they are wonderful. They love the children. All the children are black. And she said that's fine. Children are getting access to good education. But she just wishes that her daughter could be in a school with people from all different backgrounds. That's so much part of education. I mean, the fact that you guys get brilliant matric results, to me, is significant. Of course it's important. And in particular, that one can combine transformation and change and opening up visions and participation and maintain the highest scholarly standards by any criteria. That's fantastic. But to me, the great virtue of education here is you're not only learning about history and about mathematics and about science and geography and literature. You're learning about your fellow human beings. And not through textbooks and classes. You don't write an exam about your best friend. That would be terrible. But you're learning through daily interactions and what people say to each other in the playground and how they chat and what's important to them and the stories they speak about after the weekend, events that have happened that are significant, all the little details that make life particular and rich for every human being. And to me, it's that combination of experiences and values and participation that make this a very, very special school. I'm looking at the 6 recipients. It's great that you got the honor. I'm sure you would have been happy if it was the Father Christmas Scholarship or the What Shall We Do Tomorrow Scholarship or whatever, because you got a scholarship. You were singled out as somebody worthy of special respect and support, and that's marvelous. But I'm asking you to add to that the dignity and the beauty of the association with Ruth First. I was recently at the cemetery in Maputo, and What a strong place it is for us. Every December 16th, we used to go there, we would clean the graves, we would sing freedom songs, and we would wonder, that little space of land over there, will I be next? Ruth sang and she was next. I would sing, I was almost next, I wasn't next. And these are people who believed in freedom, fought for the rights of everybody to go to school together, to learn about each other, to respect each other. Fought for the rights of women to be full participants in every aspect of life. Buried there. I remember her wit, her sharpness, her brilliance. Not like a powerful, important, brilliant person. It would just come out of her, the way she would be speaking about this, that, and the other, a movie she'd seen, a friend, a cutting comment, sometimes quite harsh about people. She occupied a space. You noticed her, you responded to her. And those of us who were kind of feminists without knowing we were feminists, we loved her in particular. She took on men not only in oratory and presentation and writing, but the level of theory, of ideas. There was nothing that she was afraid to tackle, to deal with. There was no topic that was too holy, too sacrosanct, too sensitive, too difficult that you shouldn't really touch. Honesty never destroyed anything. Honesty can be harsh, it can be abrasive, it can be painful, but it's never destructive. Sometimes you delay honesty, sometimes you coat honesty a little bit to soften its impact. But the integrity that comes with honesty was an integrity that ran right through Ruth's life, right to the end. So feel proud of being the recipients of the Ruth First scholarships. Don't let it weigh too heavily on you. It's been a marvelous period of your life. I don't know how long the scholarship still lasts, but it's a wonderful association to have. And I can't speak for Ruth. I don't think Ruth believed in life after death. But I can say in terms of the values that Ruth had, she would be immensely proud to see you sitting here, looking up at me with big eyes, and to know that you are here with a scholarship named in her honor, not because she was RUTHFIRST, but because she was a freedom fighter, she was an intellectual, she was a woman of courage and strength, she was funny, she dressed beautifully, she was proud of her appearance, and she was somebody we all loved. Congratulations.